Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me, he did a Diamond Pass podcast over there at Rocky Top Insider today with Ryan Shumpert. You can go check out on the Rocky Top Insider YouTube channel because we're talking baseball here in mid-October. It doesn't even feel like Tennessee football has a game on Saturday against Kentucky that I think they still have. I don't think it's been canceled in lieu of the Tony Vitello departure news, but Omaha Productions and Rocky Top Insider's own Jack Foster is here. Jack, we have baseball to talk about in late October.
Yeah. Didn't anticipate doing a Diamond Pass podcast on October 23rd. I think I led the show with that. But of course, was absolutely necessary when the head coach leaves. I think that warrants a show. So yeah, baseball is front and center. It's funny, you and I talked about the Tony Giants stuff a couple weeks ago, and I think it was right around football season starting, and you were saying, it's football time in Tennessee, but baseball's kind of dominating the news here this week with the Giants speculation. And at the time, no one thought that it had much substance. Of course it did eventually. It's definitely dominating now is my point. Like, holy cow. I've forgotten there's a freaking game this weekend. Like, Tony left Tennessee. This is pretty much the only thing people are talking about, and rightfully so.
I mean, I've been like, my mood has been down, Jack. Like, it's affected my week. Like, I'm just bummed. Like, I just feel like I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel bad. Like, this one, like, it just bums me out.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend to be like some insider. That's Ryan Shumpert. I'm just a podcast host, and I tell you guys what's happening every at bat in some thread online. And this is kind of my second job anyway, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some, I'll cover the team totally, no interest in that kind of stuff. No, I mean, Tony leaving has depressed me more than anything in sports has depressed me, maybe ever. I'm not lying. Like, this sucks really badly. It's not that it doesn't suck in the sense that Tennessee's just going to be terrible now and like, oh, Tennessee baseball just bad now. No, I think they'll be good. But Tony leaving, that type of person, that icon of a sports figure, to be able to be around his program and to cover that individual was something I am so grateful I was able to do. And that I'm really sad ended when it did. Obviously didn't anticipate game 2 in Fayetteville of the Super being the last game of the Tony Vitello era. I mean, goodness, that's just hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, his final game in college and then his next game in college baseball might be in the same venue.
Okay. Yeah. We all know that's a strong possibility here, but we don't have to talk about it.
That's the double whammy part of it, though. Like, that's why it bums me out even more, because you can't help but go like 5 years down the line where like this is not going to leave us for a long time. Like, it's one of those things that's going to come back. We know it's going to circle back around. Like, we know this is coming back. The chickens are coming home to roost. And I hope Tony is awesome. And I hope that is not what happens. I hope Tony kills it in San Francisco. I hope he's the Giants manager for 10, 15 years, whatever it is. And then he just retires off to the sunset. But
yeah,
I mean, if it doesn't work out, which is a possibility because it's a huge transition and there's no precedent for this going straight from college baseball with no pro experience. Like, we just don't know. Like, we have no idea how this is going to go for Vitello, and I don't know. I'll be rooting for him. I hope it works out, but at the same time, I'm also just dreading if it doesn't, and I think there are so many Tennessee fans who are dreading if it doesn't work out for him, because you just feel like that next anvil is the Nick Saban type deal from LSU, where it's like the worst case scenario is he's back in the SEC in a couple of years, and it's at Arkansas or even A&M, who tried, multiple times. So that job might open up, and it's like that's the double whammy. Where not only do you lose Tony now, but you also might have him back in the SEC coaching. You might be coaching against him, and I don't want to root against Tony Vitello ever in my life. And I think part of it is like, You said it, Jack, where it's like, it was he's the best baseball coach Tennessee has had, and he is the best baseball coach Tennessee will ever have. Like that run he went on for the last 5 years will not be redone. Like that is a level of dominance that we will never see at Tennessee baseball again. And I think it's something that really bums me out because I thought we would get longer, Like selfishly, I wanted a longer runway here because I mean, you look at the 26 and 27 classes you have coming in here, and you look at just the behemoth, the Death Star that he's built here. Man, I imagine it's a lot like what Alabama football fans felt for a long time and what Georgia football fans have felt of late, where it's like, man, it's really cool having a rock star, superstar head coach and be the epicenter of the sport. Like Tennessee baseball was the coolest ticket on campus. Like it's not basketball, it's not football, it's been baseball. There's nothing better or more dominant or more impressive over the last 5 years, maybe this century, than Tennessee baseball. What Tony Vitello built this century in Knoxville will not be replicated. So it feels like no matter what, and that's why like I hope it's Elander, and I've made the point. I don't know where you stand on this, and we'll get into it. But like this is why I don't know why would you want this job if you're coming in as an outsider, because you already have half the fan base who will not be receptive to it already. The standard is so high because you're going to fall short. Like no matter what, you're going to fall short. And that's going to be hard for whoever comes in here. But I guess it's the Mad Men line of like, that's what the money is for. But at the same time, like you're walking a fine line because you're not only replacing a guy who won, you're replacing a guy who was legitimately like an icon, like the biggest figure in athletics here in Knoxville. Like everyone knew Tony Vitello. Everyone loved Tony Vitello. It was he permeated into the culture in a very different way than anybody else did. Like a man of the people type deal. That's like, that's really, really insane to follow.
We talked about this on the Diamond Pass. Tony became part of your family.
Yes.
You felt like Tony was part of your family. Tennessee baseball was a part of your identity as a person. As a fan of Tennessee athletics, Tennessee baseball was a part of your freaking identity. And it's so intimate and a niche sport in college baseball that you were bought in all the more so. Like football and basketball, Tennessee football always reigns supreme. I get it. But it's more of a national thing. You are not as attached. You watch it on TV and you see 100,000. Like you're lucky to get into Neyland, right?
Yeah.
With LNS and with Tennessee baseball, if you are that diehard of a fan, you are in it, man. You are part of that identity. You're the one on Tuesday nights watching SEC Network Plus games. You know, that is how cool it was to be a part of that and to witness history year in, year out in this juggernaut of a team and watch who I think was going to eventually go down as the best college baseball coach of all time if he coached for a long time. That's a take that will never be proven, I guess, unless he were to come back. But I believe that if Tony were to coach into his 60s, he would eventually become the best college baseball coach to ever do it. So to lose that icon, as you said, it's way more than the numbers. It's way more than the results on the field. Is it about losing that part of the community and just that iconic figure? It's really indescribable the impact he had on so many individuals. I said this as well, from a personal angle. I was never a big baseball fan growing up. I like the Reds, but I'm not a diehard MLB guy. I never watched college baseball. If you told me when I went to UT that the best thing, the best part of my experience there would be covering the Tennessee baseball team and watching every single pitch for 3 years straight during my time as a student, I said, wow, you sound crazy because I'm not a baseball guy. But that was the case because of Tony Vitello. He made me a huge baseball fan. Now I'll watch as many Reds games as I can. I love Tennessee baseball, of course. It's probably the one season I look forward to more than any other. And it's why I've still covered Tennessee baseball, even though I have another job. I don't cover football or basketball anymore. But baseball I do because of how amazing that program he built is, or was, I should say, and hopefully will continue to be. But and I think, talking about myself, I think it's happened for a lot of people is what I'm trying to say. I think he has made a lot of people fall in love with just the sport of baseball because of how captivating he was.
And that's why I'm just so curious what it looks like post Tony. I mean, you have these renovations that are going to be completed, but that's why Tony, like you said it great, like, and that's the difference between a relationship between, like, I think, and this is no offense to Heupel, but if Heupel got hired by the Miami Dolphins in December, people be like, oh, I think we'll
Yeah.
be fine. We could probably we'll be all right. Like that, I think there will be some fans who are like, oh, man. I mean, you're receptive. You're like, hey, he had a great run. He stabilized the program. He's the second best coach here this century outside of Fulmer. Like, great run. But I think you and I would be like, I think you could probably upgrade there. I think Tennessee is in a spot where you could do better. And it's like, you appreciate it. Good guy, like great ambassador for the university. But there's no like connection. Like a part of it's just the personality and everything else. But it's not like a, man, we just lost. It's like we lost a family member. And Rick, when he retires, Rick's been great. You'll be like, I think we could still probably upgrade. Rick's been an awesome ambassador. I really enjoy Rick Barnes being the head basketball coach for the Tennessee Volunteers. It's not going to affect my week. It's going to be like, all right, we'll find someone, and I think Tennessee will be really we'll find a good hire. Like I think they'll be all right. Like I think you'll be able to find another guy to keep this thing humming. Baseball, I don't know. Baseball, it's just like Vitello struck a different chord for a lot of fans, and it was across generations. You saw it like the older folks, the younger folks, like everybody tapped into Tennessee baseball, and it became like standing room only. And it's such a, it's a smaller environment. So like so many people were invested because they saw the rise. You know what I mean? Like so many people were there like 6 years ago, and you were getting more and more and more, and you saw like you were along for the ride, and then you got to enjoy the juggernaut because you're like, yeah. And then it was an us against the world thing, and like so many fans remember where they were on Drew Gilbert's walk-off grand slam against Wright State, like, and that was a long time ago now, Jack, and like it still, people remember it vividly. I remember I was in Florida, like I remember watching it on my phone, and it's one of those deals where you got to take some time. Like the timing's terrible. Like this just sucks on a timing standpoint. Like obviously with the recruiting part of all of this and seeing what this is going to mean for this upcoming class, what this means for the guys here in the spring. But it was a season that I think you and I were both very excited. Like this could have been the best team in college baseball next year if Tony's here, and they still could potentially. We'll see what happens. But like I was really excited because I think Tennessee was going to be the best team in the SEC, and I think this was going to be just an awesome. I couldn't wait. I'm like you. I couldn't wait for baseball season. And it's just such a different deal where you just put so much time and investment into it, and Tony gives it back, at this time. Like he was on my radio show this summer. You've talked to Tony. Like he makes everybody feel welcome, and he was genuine. He gave you good answers. Like he listened, and he was a real dude. And
the word I use is authentic.
Yes.
And it's, to use a phrase of his, a lost art these days.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people are as authentic and as honest as he is. He was himself all of the time, and that is so admirable. And people like, especially LSU, Vandy, Arkansas fans, I get you not liking Tony Vitello. Tennessee's the rival here. But if you were ever a casual observer of college baseball, or just tuned in for the CWS every year, like if you had some sort of disdain for Vitello, you just weren't doing your homework. Because if you actually cared to learn about the type of person Tony was and the type of coach and leader and mentor he was, you would grow to respect him greatly, because there's few flaws with the way he conducts himself. And I think he's arguably, like, he's one of the more impressive people I've ever had the fortune of being around, if that makes sense.
With all that being said, I don't know how you don't give it to Elander, because because like the thing is, like, whoever you see the names who might, like the East Carolina coach,
ECU, Coastal, Oregon,
they're going to be there in 2 to 3 years if Elander doesn't work out. Like part of this is like you've built too big of a runway here, and you have ex-players and current players where it's like there is no point in rocking the boat this way. This should not be a conversation. You should see what Elander does. This is not just like promoting from within, like a huge unknown. It's like a guy who was chased by other SEC head coaching jobs. Like Elander has waited his turn, and Elander can absolutely be a rock star for Tennessee. Like that, I would not be surprised if Elander was able to make this thing work and keep this thing humming to an extent. So I don't know, but the fact that it opened up to a nationwide search kind of scares me a little bit. But I don't know how. I think it's already tough enough losing Vitello in late October and just losing Vitello in general. You want to really I think it's just completely missing the moment if you go outside of Elander here, because I think it just, you can't do it. Like I get that you can, but it will not go over well. And it's not fair to the other guy who you hire outside of Elander, but it's just, there's too many people that want it to be E that are really good, and you've built this MLB pipeline juggernaut where you have a bunch of guys who are in Major League Baseball right now saying, please give it to Elander. Maybe listen to them. And then if it doesn't work out in a couple of years and he's not able to keep it going, then hey, at least you tried, and you have that goodwill from the fan base and ex players and current players because you tried. You were like, hey, we'll see. I listened to you guys. We'll run it back. We'll see if Elander can keep this thing humming. If not, then we'll go outside the Vitello tree and outside the Vitello family. I think it's a disservice and honestly just kind of unacceptable to go outside of Elander at this point. Like I just do.
Yeah. It's like, how extreme can we make our language where like stressing of that Elander has to be hired, because it's the 100% no brain decision. I get why you make Frank the interim now. And like, you're going to do this search. Like you said, nationwide search scares me. And also Danny White's personality scares the hell out of me because he's so stubborn and like wants his own guy. But I'm like, surely Danny White's intelligent enough to not screw this up. Like you said, you built this juggernaut. Everybody and their mother is saying Josh Elander is the right call here. He's just as good of a recruiter as Tony. I don't think he gives you the same upside, of course, but you're going to be good with Josh Elander. I still think you'll be a perennial contender. If he flops, like you said, those other guys are there. I mean, hell, the Carolina coaches that are being tossed around, those guys are alums. They're not leaving unless you just gift wrap them a bag, which you could do, but why do it now? Give Elander a shot. The Murray State guy too. Like, there's other options. There's always going to be.
You can go back to those guys in a couple of years.
Give Elander a shot, man. And he's done well stepping in when Tony's been suspended, of course. He has the chops. I mean, this is a guy that was being floated around as an SEC head coach candidate every time there's an opening. So it was already a fear that you were going to lose him any given moment. Now take the rock star, take the rocket ship here, and Josh Elander. And another thing, if it's not Elander, the fans are not going to accept the new head coach. It is that he's already going to be in a hole because the fan base is immediately skeptical of what he's going to be able to do.
Well, I think it splinters.
Because they want it
like I think it's not like a one. It will splinter the fan base, which is, you're splintering it for no reason. Because I think some will.
I mean, everybody's going to be mad. I don't see how anyone's like, all right, good choice, Danny. No one's saying that.
I think what's interesting is the timing, right? You're in October, so you have 4 months, and until the first pitch, you have 4-ish months.
Yeah, Ryan was saying he anticipates a head coach being named in 7 to 10 days.
I think you have to. There's too much on the line with this recruiting pipeline and everything else. You got winter ball. You have to get this thing organized and ready to go. Rosters are smaller. You got to figure out who's going, who's got the winter transfer portal, right? For some of these players, you got to figure out who's going to be on this roster and who there are going to be the guys that are going to help you, because you can't carry as many guys. So you got to be dang sure what you're doing going into February of next year. So that doesn't surprise me why they're this is going to be a quick process. But that's good. But if this was this happened in January, and obviously the timelines don't matter, but people would be, I'm curious what the energy is 4 months post Tony. If you were to go outside of Elander, would there still be that same level of frustration and anger from the fan base if you because of the 4-month drop? Right. I don't know what it looks like.
I see what you're saying. You have 4 months to buy back in.
Yes.
But I still think it would be significantly down. If they name Elander the head coach, people are going to be all the way back in 4 months.
I think attendance dips if you don't go Elander. I do believe that that is the thing, is where my gut is, fair or not, I don't think the interest is as strong. That's the thing. It's you, to keep interest up, you have to go Elander. And I understand you don't make decisions based on just filling the seats, but that is part of it. It's I think it's honestly, you're doing a solid to those people who've paid so much money and put in so much time into watching this program grow and succeed and thrive. I feel to keep those folks, and you and I who cover this team, both writing and on the podcast and everywhere else, is like, hey, we've watched this work really well for a really long time now. And I just am gonna go ahead and tell you, like, you probably want to keep this thing going if you can. Like, you're not gonna do better. And it's like if you hit it with Elander, he seems like a guy who, I mean, definitely is in it for the long haul, right? Like he has
Yeah.
chosen to stay
And he's
here, so it's
young.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, just build around Elander, and then you're fine. And it's like, wow, we really like, yeah, it really sucked that we lost Vitello, but man, Elander's awesome too, and we still have this great thing that people want to go see and appreciate and spend their dollars and time on, because it's a lot of time being a big time Tennessee baseball fan. Like 3 games a weekend, like you said, the Tuesday games, like it's a big time commitment to be a Tennessee baseball fan. More time commitment than football, basketball, everywhere else. So to keep that time commitment going for a lot of these fans, I think you have to go Elander and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Building a new stadium, like
Yeah.
you're putting all these resources into what's been built here by Tony, continue it with his, understudy. And also, no one is Tony Vitello personality wise, but Elander's a super cool dude. He's
Yeah.
going to be very liked. He's not polarizing either. Like, I think he'll be more universally liked than Vitello just because he's
Mm.
super easygoing. He's a former player. He checks all the boxes. Definitely not a hothead like Tony, but um, super stand up dude who I think will do a tremendous job. So that's the no brainer decision. If it's not him, people are going to be very angry.
It's just another punch to the gut, you know? Like
Yeah.
if you go outside of Tony or outside of Elander, like
And what are these former players going to say if you don't hire Elander? I mean, everyone has voiced their, support of Elander here. If it's someone else, do those guys are there things said by former players that isn't too kind?
well, and then also, what does the roster turnover look like after next spring
Yeah.
if you don't go Elander? Because we're going to look at a talent free fall if you go away from Elander next spring. Like
Yep.
after that one, like we will see something crazy next summer if you go away from Elander, is my guess.
I agree.
And that's scary because ultimately this is still talent first. Like talent matters. Part of the reason Tony was a rock star and won a college World Series is Tony was a relentless recruiter.
Mhm.
And like you said, a likable dude, and Elander, likable dude, great recruiter. That is still ultimately the name of the game. Part of the reason Kirby and Nick Saban have been at the top of their sport is they recruit very well. Ultimately, you still have to recruit very well. I'm just going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say, and with all due respect, the Oregon coach, the Kansas coach, East Carolina coach, all know baseball. They're great coaches. They will not recruit at the level Tony Vitello did and recruit at the level that Josh Elander would if he's given the opportunity. And that is another big part of it. Is like I want the player, like you want the best players, and Elander gives you the best shot of keeping these 26 and 27 classes in your pipeline. And that's the most important thing because talent wins out, and I want to keep as much talent on Rocky Top as possible.
Yep. I mean, could just go read stories about, that Ryan has written, that Mike has written of these specifically transfer portal additions being recruited in the summer, whether it's Cape Cod or anything.
Mm,
Tennessee's chasing natties and Elander's flying all over the country to get these guys to campus for the following year, and they got a game in 4 days. Like
mm,
my point is that when you read these stories, the focal point of most of these recruitments is Josh Elander from the
mm,
Tennessee side of things. Like Tony, I think, is more that for high school talent and
mm.
go into all these, you know, um, high school games. But when it comes to transfer portal, especially, which is the name of the game now, look at Tennessee's roster, chocked full of portal players. Elander has been the guy at the center of all these stories of these recruitments. Like from a high school level, I think it takes a dip, but from a transfer portal level, Elander's been the rock star here.
And it might not. Like, what does Elander hire around him? Like, what does Elander do at the high school level? We don't know. Like, I am
Yeah, I
not
mean,
gonna.
it'll still be good. I don't know
Yeah,
if it'll be like absolute lock number one every single year like
but it
it is
might not
now.
have to be if you keep these 26
Yeah.
and 27 classes happy, and that gives
Mhm.
Elander time, to build and build those relationships as the head guy, and also show proof of concept over the next 2 years. Like if
Yeah.
Elander keeps rolling and Tennessee is a College World Series team next year under Elander, then it's like, oh yeah, so any big time top 50 prospect who was kind of wondering how this would look post Tony, are like, okay, it's still a juggernaut. This is cool, and Elander's definitely not going anywhere. So yeah, I'll go to Rocky Top.
Yep.
Oh man, Jack Foster. It's just going to be so weird. That first game, no Tony Vitello in the dugout is going to be completely bizarre.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
it'll
just a
be less
bizarre
weird
day.
if it's E, but yeah, it's still like I said, man. It's like losing a family member.
Yeah,
But you're happy for him. You have to be happy for him.
yeah.
First ever to do it. I mean, come on.
I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm just sad. Like, I'm just not ready. I can't say I'm happy for him yet because I'm still sad. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll be happy for him once, like, we get a few more weeks removed from this whole thing, but I'm
This is
not
must
happy yet.
must be what it's like when parents see their kid go off to college.
Yeah.
You're
You're like,
happy for your kid. You're like,
but I'm
oh, he's
sad right now.
flourishing,
Yeah.
but damn, I'm sad. Yeah,
But eventually I'll be happy for him.
yeah.
But I just got to let the,
And then if he flunks out, he can come back home.
oh man.
Just don't go live with your best friend.
Yeah, just, please no Arkansas or Texas A&M, Tony. Please no.
I feel like
Please no
it'll
Arkansas.
only be Arkansas if it's not Tennessee.
I just hope he works out with San Francisco. Go Giants. Many forget this is a very pro San Francisco Giants podcast. No, many forget, like, no one loves the San Francisco Giants, like, and want them to succeed quite like the Chase Thomas podcast.
And what if it's like Vitello goes to the Giants and it's like quick hook, like just a couple years he's done, and Tennessee didn't hire Elander. He's probably not coming back to Tennessee. That's another reason to hire E, because it's like you kind of keep Tony on your good side. I maybe the Danny Tony relationship is just far beyond broken. We don't know that, but I feel like hiring Elander would only help the case of potentially getting Vitello back if he were to come back.
If you hire Elander, Tony's not replacing his guy.
But the timing could work out where Elander doesn't work, and then you have I think
that's tough,
it's going to be hard for Tony to ever come back to
Tennessee. I need you, Jack. You're in the denial phase. Tony Vitello will never be the baseball coach of Tennessee again. I don't think that's happening.
It's a very small possibility, but it could. I mean,
Jack, this is why you're not as down as I am. Like, you're talking yourself into, like, you're doing the Pepe Sylvia bit from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's on the board. You're trying to figure out the man, and I'm over here having to tell you, not only does Pepe Sylvia exist, and all of these people have been looking for their mail the past several days. Like, I just feel like that's how I am with you right now.
Tony's got to be good enough to outlast Van Horn retiring and Arkansas hiring a new guy, and that guy being good, and Elander having maybe a short stay at Tennessee. Sorry, Josh. And then, like, there's another guy.
No. Here's what we want. We want Josh Elander to get hired and Josh Elander to be awesome for like 15 years at Tennessee.
Yes, fine. But I'm saying how Tony comes back is what I'm saying.
I'm not doing that. I just can't do that for you, Jack.
He probably has to stay at the Giants like 8 to 10 years for him to ever come back to Tennessee.
I mean, I think either Tony, just to me, I think he's either going to be awesome in San Francisco and it's going to be just a home run hire and it's like, wow, this is fantastic, or it goes completely the other way. I don't see him having a middle of the road Major League Baseball managing career. He's either going to just be awesome at it or it's going to be an absolute disaster. I just feel like it's one or the other.
Look, I'm never going to say Tony, look, he just prints success wherever he goes, but I don't have a lot of high hopes for it.
I just don't pretend to have any idea. Like, I think so much more goes into professional managing that's out of Tony's hands. You know what I mean? Like, I think everyone's looking at this in a weird way where my thing is like, he's in the Dodgers division, which is a problem. The Padres are spending money. They're right there. Obviously a playoff team too.
Solid.
Like, it's nice that he's going to have the Rockies in his division. Perpetually awful. But like, part of it is like, hey, everyone brings up the World Series. I mean, you're going on in a decade-ish of kind of dysfunction in San Francisco. So a lot of it's out of his hands. So if Buster Posey stinks as a GM, because remember, Buster Posey is like my age, like maybe a couple of years older. Like, it's
he's fresh out the league.
Yeah, like he's not this, like he's not AJ Preller over here, but it's just I don't know. Like, a lot of this is out of Tony's hands, is what I'm saying, in terms of whether or not he succeeds or fails at the Major League Baseball level. Like, I just feel like part of it is what kind of roster does Buster Posey put around him? How much, like that's so much of it is just what's the roster like? And Tony's not going to be able to control some of this stuff. You know, he was able to control Tennessee baseball. He will not be able to control San Francisco Giants. So I think some of this is just out of his hands. So it's like, if Tony bombs San Francisco, I wouldn't put it all on Tony. Like, it's a totally different deal.
Yeah, exactly. I I will say, though, I think his strengths lie in what makes college coaches great, not
Yeah.
MLB managers great. But we'll see. Like I said, he's a successful individual, so I'm not going to doubt him.
I'm not either. And I hope it works out.
I'm
Tony,
rooting for him big time. Yeah, 100%.
we're pro Tony. But we also have to talk about like it's just you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Vols versus Kentucky. Biggest question you hope Tennessee answers for you in this game on Saturday night, Jack Foster.
Yeah, I want to see the O-line play a little bit better. I think Tennessee smashes Kentucky, but want to see more consistent O-line play. We'll see what happens with the defense and availabilities and stuff. But something I've been thinking about with this Tennessee offense specifically that I wanted to talk about here. Deshaun Bishop just clear cut RB1, and it's more of a workhorse role like Dylan Sampson than a timeshare moving forward because Deshaun Bishop has been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see if that, gap in touches continues. And, I was a Bishop guy before the season. I think Star Thomas has had great moments. I think Peyton Lewis is probably my third favorite back of the three. But does Deshaun Bishop continue to be this good? And does Tennessee fully entrust him with a workhorse role? They kind of did last week, but just moving forward as well.
You mentioned the O-line. It seems like they're going to keep rotating. And that's what Hypo was talking about this week, which I don't know. What do you make of the rotation they did, especially in the first half? Because I thought it was bizarre how much they were rotating and moving Wendell Moy on left guard and right guard. And I think his sack he gave up was at left guard in that game. And then obviously Lance Hurd gave up a sack too. But then you have William Satterwhite rotating in for a couple snaps at center for Pendleton. You move Jesse Perry from right tackle to right guard, but when you move him to right guard, you have to flip Moy to left guard. And then when he's not in, Sham Imram is at left guard and Moy's at right guard. And I don't know what they're doing there because part of what worked for the first 5 games was that Sanders was out, so you knew who your 5 were. So you just rolled. Like it was, hey, Hurd at left, Sham at left guard, Pendleton at center, Moy at right guard, and Perry at right tackle. And you just gave them all a bunch of snaps. And it worked. I don't feel like rotating in the offensive line makes any sense. I think Sanders played really well on Saturday. I don't know why they're complicating this. Like it should just be Sanders at right tackle, Perry at right guard, Pendleton at center, Moy at left guard, and Hurd at left tackle, and play them 50, 60 snaps. Like, what are we doing? I don't know why this rotation thing is continuing on. It seems very bizarre, especially not fair to like Moy and Perry, I think, especially.
Yeah, and it's not been something that Heupel does a ton. I mean, I know Dane Davis was kind of always the jack of all trades, could fit in here, fit in there.
But those are mostly injuries.
Exactly. And this isn't the case here. That's what I was saying, just more consistency because I don't get it either, especially rotation at center without injury makes no sense to me. But the 5 you laid out, the 5 we thought it was going to be going into the season, just roll with that. Like you said, I don't understand either.
Yeah, I'm very curious what that looks like. And if Brazel breaks back out, right? Like Brazel's been kind of shut down the last 2 weeks. I'm curious if he's able to get some big plays down the field. Tennessee has not had any big passing plays down the field the last 2 games.
Yeah, I don't think Brazel's played badly or anything, though. It just hasn't quite worked out.
I think the defenses have just played him different, right? Like I just feel like that's probably part of where you're at in the season is there's just a lot more tape on what Brazel's done really well. And I imagine defenses have kind of adjusted, so they're going to have to adjust back,
Yeah, what was his line against Arkansas? Hold on.
Did he have like 1 catch?
Yeah, 1 for 5. That was the bad game. I knew that.
Yeah, his last 2 games are not like he's been shut down.
He had what, like 30 yards last week?
Mm-hmm.
66. More than I thought.
Okay.
Maybe he got some of that late. I mean, Staley cooked Bama, on those couple plays, so he was the leading receiver. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not too down on Tennessee's receiving core, Brazel or anything. I still think this passing offense will be good. Joey's still good. The safety was terrible last week, but for the most part, I have high hopes for this offense. Just want to see more consistency up front, like I said, and then Bishop, man. Does this offense does it run through Bishop more than we anticipated down the stretch? I think could be a question here.
SEC game of the weekend that you're going to be most locked in on outside of Tennessee on Saturday, Jack?
I'll say this. The upset I'm calling is LSU. Not really that big of an upset. Believe it's less than a field goal spread. But that Ole Miss Oklahoma game, I'm super intrigued by. I want Oklahoma to win because I want the Tennessee-Oklahoma game to be as big as possible because I do think Tennessee wins that. And if Oklahoma's, only a one-loss team at the time, it'll be so much better for Tennessee. And I think Oklahoma can win this against Ole Miss. Last week, Ole Miss showed me that they're legit, against Georgia. Going to Athens, almost win. Just fell apart late, but Trinidad Chambliss is the real deal. Surefire Heisman contender in my eyes, but I do think Oklahoma's good too, and I think they can get Ole Miss in Norman this weekend. So that's the one I'm watching. Not a ton of confidence that Oklahoma wins. That'd be my pick just to roll with the home team, but definitely hoping Oklahoma wins to set the stage for a pretty big game next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big game either way. It's Josh Heupel versus Oklahoma. But
right.
I mean, it's one of those deals. If Ole Miss wins, they're
Mhm.
in the playoff no matter what. Because if you look at their final 4 games, like Ole Miss is absolutely coasting at 11-1. Maybe they can even drop the Egg Bowl or something and they're still in. Ole Miss they're in really, really good shape for the college football playoff at this point. And then you look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's got to have this. Because like you, they're right now not favored in Neyland. Tennessee's only lost to Georgia outside. They've only lost to Georgia inside of Neyland since the start of the 2022 season. So until that changes, I'm going to pick Tennessee to beat both Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. But I think it'll be tighter than a lot of folks are hoping in both games, I would say. But yeah, I can't wait to see that one. And Vanderbilt and Mizzou, I'm not as in on. Like, I think Vanderbilt's just a better team. I think Vanderbilt's just going to beat Mizzou. Like, I think Ole Miss, Oklahoma is going to be a bloodbath back and forth. I think that's going to be a fight. And I think Vandy might coast against Mizzou.
Yeah, it's also just 2 programs I'm not as interested in, right? Like on a national scale. Yeah, the Vanderbilt's thing's fun. I don't hate Vandy as much as some others do who are as interested in Tennessee. But I don't like Drinkwitz. I'll say that. So go Vandy this weekend for sure. But yeah, like people from who aren't as involved in watching Tennessee think, oh, Vandy may get Tennessee this year, playoff seed on the line. Tennessee's not losing that game, and Tennessee's not losing to Oklahoma. I have a lot of confidence they win both of those home games. You know what I'm not confident in? Tennessee winning in Gainesville when it's like, hey, win and then beat Vandy, you're in. Tennessee's they could definitely lose that Florida game still. That's the one I'm more scared of the 3.
Yeah, that's fair. Jack Foster, what can the good folks check out from you and the team over at Omaha Productions and Rocky Top Insider this week?
Yeah, a lot going on, of course, with the Tony stuff. So RockyTopInsider.com, full coverage on that. As Chase mentioned, new podcast with Ryan Chumpert and myself, breaking it down from the Omaha side of things. It's the same as always. 2 SV pods each week, which is my main thing. Live stream every Saturday night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time on the ESPN YouTube channel. So please tune into those. Those are a lot of fun. Scott and Steve breaking down the day. They're late. Couldn't recommend it enough. And that's a big deal for us to have that live stream going on every week. 4 episodes a week for Always College Football. We'll be doing college football ranking recap shows when those come out here soon. Twice a week, Mina Kimes show, and once a week, the Schrager Hour with Peter Schrager. So a lot going on.
I love it. Jack Foster, always a pleasure. And I'll talk to you again next week.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.